Welcome back to 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We begin today in Argentina, where Javier Milei, the far-right libertarian candidate in Argentina, suffered an electoral setback when defeated by Sergio Massa in a recent runoff election. Despite strong initial performances in the primaries, Milei's radical policies, approach, and inability to form a strategic alliance appears to have limited his broader electoral appeal. The political landscape remains complex, and the economic instability and public dissatisfaction played significant roles in voter sentiment. From Reuters, quote, having captured the public's imagination during the primaries in his outspoken libertarian ways, his inability to convert this into electoral victory in the runoff suggests a need for strategic re-evaluation, an analyst commentary highlighting Milei's current political challenges, end quote. And of course, we're going to jump across the Atlantic to Egypt, where Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, we're just going to call him Sisi from now on, has directed authorities to consider pardoning prominent activist Alaa Abdel el-Fattah, a significant figure in Egypt's pro-democracy movement who has spent years in and out of prison on charges many consider politically motivated. This potential pardon is seen as a gesture towards improving Egyptian human rights record and reducing political tensions. From Reuters, quote, the move by President el-Sisi to have Alaa Abdel el-Fattah in his case reviewed is noteworthy in the current climate of political repression. Abdel el-Fattah has become a symbol of resistance to the silencing of dissent in Egypt, and his imprisonment reflects broader issues within the country's judicial system, end quote. Back across the Atlantic in Mexico, a devastating train-bus collision has resulted in 10 fatalities and 61 injuries, highlighting critical safety concerns at railway crossings. The accident occurred in a suburban area, causing significant damage and chaos. Emergency services struggled to rescue victims from the severely damaged vehicles, prompting urgent calls for improved transportation safety protocols. From Reuters, quote, the noise was deafening. There were screams everywhere, and the people were running towards the wreckage, said an eyewitness, Maria Nunez, describing the horrific scene. The city's mayor emphasized the urgent need for improved traffic control measures at railway crossings, while transport authorities launched a comprehensive investigation to determine the accident's cause and identify potential safety lapses, end quote. Next, we travel across the world to Nepal, where their Prime Minister, KP Sharma Oli, is facing intense political pressure following the deaths of protesters challenging his administration's policies and alleged corruption. Public demonstrations have intensified, with opposition parties demanding his resignation and highlighting widespread dissatisfaction with government resource management and land deals. The current political crisis represents a critical moment for Nepal's governance and a potential future stability on the horizon. From Reuters, quote, Nepal's political landscape has often been turbulent, said KP Sharma Oli during his tenure as prime minister, and it has had no exception. His ability to navigate choppy political waters has been tested like never before in the wake of these protesters' deaths, end quote. Now we travel a little bit further south to Australia, and we're going to talk about Australia and Vanuatu, who have postponed signing a bilateral security agreement from 2023 to 2025 due to political instability in Vanuatu following a recent election. The delay follows Vanuatu's new government time and gives them time to carefully evaluate and customize the agreement, which will cover disaster response, law enforcement, and mutual defense. While regional concerns about the Chinese-Pacific influence persist, Australian officials remain supportive and patient about the process. From Reuters, quote, the delay is a reflection of the need to give the newly formed government and Vanuatu adequate time to assess and tailor the security agreement to better fit their national priorities, end quote. And finally, we travel to Spain, who's planning to expand its smoking ban in 2025, prohibiting smoking in bars, terraces, beaches, and in sports stadiums. The proposed regulation is aimed to reduce tobacco consumption and improve public health. From Reuters, quote, we know that tobacco is the leading preventable cause of death and disease, and we need to take every measure possible to protect people and enhance their quality of life. Health Minister Carolina Darias said, quote, over 70% of Spaniards are in favor of expanding smoking bans in public areas, highlighting widespread support for the proposed measures, end quote. And of course, if you want to check out any of today's articles, you can find all of them linked in the description below the like and subscribe button. Also down there, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Podcast, Podvine, as well as the Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip, where I post links to these episodes that come out on Tuesday and Thursday, all about international news, and our more U.S.-focused one that comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe. Don't die.